If you use the Kadence Pro theme and you have the Blocks Pro plugin installed, in this video I'm going to show you something advanced. We are going to use hook elements to create custom post layouts, and we will go beyond that to explore more stuff about Kadence hook elements. But first, if you're wondering what Backlinko is in the video title, it is a blog created by a famous SEO expert, Brian Dean, who is best known for writing this article a couple of years ago, and I'm getting a few requests from his students asking how they can replicate something like this. You see, Backlinko has this definitive guide to SEO copywriting that has this teal color background with this heading, some text on the left and an image on the right. The same goes for the definitive guide to email marketing, with the only difference being the background color. So is the definitive guide to copywriting as well as content marketing. Well, all these are achievable if you hide the post title from your theme customizer and you style each blog post individually with Gutenberg blocks. But what if you don't want to do that? What if you just want to create custom post layout templates so you don't need to worry about designing every single blog post? You just have to create them once, and when you publish a blog post like you would normally do, the template would take care of the design. Like for example, in this dummy website, we have 4 categories: content writing, email marketing, page speed, and reviews. And in each category, we have several articles. Now let's say for all the articles in the email marketing category, we wanted to have a hero section like this to describe the article. All this text and images change with different articles, but the background remains the same for articles in the email marketing category. Now in the content writing category, we want all articles to look like this. The same goes for page speed optimization. And do stick around to the end of this video because I will show you how to turn your affiliate product review articles into something like this. All these ratings are different for each product, and the button for each product review links to different places. So for example, if you're writing a Kadence review, this button will link you up to Kadence. If you're writing an article on Generate Press, this button would link you up to Generate Press. It is not a one-for-all call to action. And as we scroll down, we have this sticky footer with a button that links to your affiliate product as well. Now, all this can be done with the Kadence Pro theme as well as Blocks Pro. If you're still on the fence with upgrading to the Pro version of Kadence, I hope this video will give you some valid reasons why you should upgrade. And if you decide to do so, you can use this link and this code to get a 10% discount. I've left the link in the description as well. So without further ado, let's get started. Hey, this is Jack, and if this is your first time on my channel, I share a lot of WordPress and online business related content. I have an ever-growing list of WordPress tutorials, page speed optimization case studies, affiliate marketing content, and many more. So if you're interested in any of these topics, then feel free to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification. Anyway, let's see how our blog post looks right now before creating those templates. Currently, there are 3 articles in each of these categories. So in total, there are 12 articles. Now let me open them up, and if you take a look at each of them, this is how the default blog post from Kadence looks like. They have this featured image that looks stretched out because the dimension of these featured image are 300 by 300 pixels. And this is my recommended dimension for featured images if you want to follow along with this tutorial. So great, let's start with creating the blog post design layout for the email marketing category. But before that, let me show you what plugins I've installed on the site. We have Kadence Pro, which is the Pro version of the theme. We have Kadence Blocks as well as the Pro version. And that's what you basically need for this tutorial. We need the Pro theme so that we can use the hook elements to create the templates. If you haven't activated the hook elements yet after you have installed the Pro theme, you need to go to Appearance and Kadence. And under the Pro add-ons, you need to toggle this on. And once you have done that, refresh the page and you'll see these elements nested under Kadence. We then need the Blocks Pro because we need to use its dynamic content feature. So if you don't see this cylinder looking icon on your WordPress editor, which is the dynamic content we'll be using, you need to make sure that the Blocks Pro version you are using is 1.5 and above, not this 1.4. So cool, let's start the process by going back to the WordPress dashboard and let's go to the hook elements. Let's add new. Now let me explain this. Hook elements gives you the ability to add design to any parts of your page. Those parts where the theme customizer cannot reach, you can reach them through hook elements. And if you want to do that, you need to select default. However, if you want to add a fixed element, for example, a sticky sidebar or a sticky footer or header that is out of the norm, which I will show you in a while as well, you can select fixed. And if you're comfortable using HTML, CSS and JavaScript to design your hook elements, feel free to use the code. But for this case, let's select default. Now let's give this hook elements a title. Let's say this is Email Marketing Hero Template. Don't worry, you will not see this title anywhere on your page. This is just for your reference. And then next, let's add a block. Let's browse all and let's scroll through to search for row layout. Let's select this. Now I want a 2 equal columns. So let me select this. Click it again. And now the next thing I want to do is to click on this to change the alignment. I want to change it to full width. And then because the content area is taking full width and that's not what I want a content area of this row layout to take the size of the content width. So I will go to structure settings and I'll toggle this on. And you'll see that although this row layout is taking full width, the content of the column is resized to the max width you've decided on the theme customizer. And when you change the max width in your theme customizer, this will change as well. Now on the left, I want to add some text. So let's click on add block and let's select paragraph. Now if I add any text over here, this will be a static content. But I want this text to be dynamic and take the content from the specific articles. So for this case, I'll type anything so that this toolbar will appear. And let's click on this dynamic content. Now I know if you're new to dynamic content, you may not understand what it means. So let me take some time to explain what dynamic content is. Now every website on the internet will have a database. If you are writing content and you save it, it will be stored on the database as a draft. And when you publish the content, it will be stored in the database as live. Then, for example, if you are selling products on your website, your customers will have entered some personal information like the name, address, credit card details, etc. That information will be stored on the database as well. So basically, whatever that is happening on your website will be stored on your site's database. Now, for example, if you are designing the customer account page of your website and you have hundreds of customers, do you create hundreds of pages on your website for each customer? No, right? If you do that, you will need to key in all the variables like the name, the product details, everything they bought, and whatever one by one. And that's called static content. If you use dynamic content, all you need to do is to create one page on your website and using some codes, you draw each individual customer's information from the database and display it on that page. The process of drawing out information from the database to be displayed on your web page, it's called displaying dynamic content. You wouldn't need to care much about this because WooCommerce has created a platform to help you draw that information from your database. But that's the general idea. Next, we need to talk about custom fields. To easily understand custom fields, it is basically a field that you create so that you can insert content to be stored on the database so that you can use it later on. Okay, so now you know what dynamic content is. Let us open this up and let's select post excerpt. So the content over here will take whatever that is in the post excerpt of your individual article. The content source will leave it as current post and let's add dynamic content. Now make sure that you clear this prefix. Otherwise it will appear to wherever you hook this element to. Now over on the right, let's add a block. Let's browse all and we want to select a block from Kadence that allows us to add an image because that way we can add a dynamic image. So let's say we select info box and over at the media settings, let's change the media type to image. Let's click on this dynamic image and enable this. And then let's select post featured image. And the image source will leave it as current post. That's basically it. We want to remove the title, remove the description. So let's scroll down under title settings. Let's toggle this show title off and let's go to the text settings. Let's toggle this off as well. And then the next thing is under container settings. For the container background, you can see this gray area over here. Let's turn that into transparent by changing this to 0 and you'll see the gray area gone. But as we hover, there is still a background. So let's go to hover. Under hover background, let's change this to 0 as well. So as you hover, there won't be any background. Now I want to add a background color for this entire section. So let's click on this list view and you can see the layers of this hook element. Let's click on row layout so that we can add a background to the base layer. Let's go to background settings, scroll down a little. Under background overlay settings, let's select gradient. Now the first color, I want to put something like this, and the second color, I want to put the same color, but I want to turn it a little darker. Now if you want to flip the background horizontally, all you need to do is to go to gradient angle. Let's turn this around to 360 degree and you'll see the darker color at the top. Okay, for now, this is good enough. We want to test if this works. The second step of this is to tell Kadence where to place this hook element. Because if you don't tell Kadence where to place this hook elements will not be displayed anywhere on your site. So let's go to element settings. Under placement, let's scroll down and let's select this before all content. And then for the display settings, let's click on this. Let's scroll down and select this single post. And then let's click on this and select group so that we can select either categories or tags. But we want to select categories because we want to display this hook elements on email marketing, and let's publish this. Now let's go to an article under the email marketing category and let's refresh this. And this is how it looks like right now. Let me open up the WordPress editor of this article to show you where this is drawing information from. Because remember, on our hook element, we have selected post excerpt. So over at the WordPress editor, let's open up the settings, and under post, we can see that the featured image is being displayed here. And then let's open up excerpt. You can manually place an excerpt over here. Otherwise, it is just drawing information from here. As you can see, if you compare this to this, it is drawing what is email marketing, which is the header over here, and then followed by the first paragraph, which is this, and the first few words of the second paragraph, which is over here. So if you want to change this, let's go to the WordPress editor, under post and excerpt. So I've written something like this. Let's update and see how it looks like right now. As you can see, there is no styling and stuff. We want this to be in point form that stretch across this area. And for this case, we need to know a little bit about HTML. So let's go to the WordPress editor. Now let's say I want to add a new line over here so that the number 1 blah 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 will go to the next line. You need this code, BR. Let's update this. Refresh. You can see it goes to the next line, but you want to add a space in between this. So let's go back over here, add another BR. Let's update. Refresh, and here we go. We have some space here, and let's do the same for the rest. Let's copy this double BR, hit enter, place it here. For number 3, let's do this as well. Let's do this too. Update, and let's refresh this. Now if we want to combine this list together, all you need to do is to remove one BR in between them, like this, and you will see that it looks like this. So cool. Now take note, all these adjustments that I've just did are done on the WordPress editor of this article. And what happened to the articles in the same category? Let's go to the next email marketing article and let's refresh this. And let's go to the third article as well and refresh this. Now, do you now understand what's the purpose of using dynamic content and hook elements to design your post layouts? This is the reason. Now, what if I want to add a dynamic header over here? To do this, we need to go back to our hook element. Now, the thing is, if you want to add a centralized heading over here, you can't do it through this layout. Because as you can see, the layers that you select do not allow you to add any content in between. In this case, you need to add a new row layout. So let's click on Add Block and select Row Layout. Let's click on this one column row layout. And now here's the tricky part. I want to duplicate whatever that is in here to be placed within this row layout. So let's click on this row layout to select everything and click on this more options and copy. Now let's scroll below. Let's click on this, create a paragraph first. Let's right click, paste. And this row layout will be nested on the new row layout we have created. And the purpose for this is for us to add a heading. Let's say I want this heading to be dynamic as well. Let's select post title and the content source will be current post. I want this heading to be H1 and I want to centralize this. Now I want to bring this heading up. So let's click on this. And this looks great, but the thing is, I want this background of the row layout to be on this background. So let's explore the settings. Under background overlay settings, Let's click on this color. Let's copy this color code and let's go to the base row layout. Let's go to the background overlay settings. Let's select gradient. For color number 1, let's change this color. And for the second color, let's paste in the color code and let's make it a little darker. Next, for the gradient angle, let's change this to 360. And now we have to remove the background color of this row layout. Otherwise, it will look weird. So over at the overlay settings, let's click on normal and the background color will be gone. And don't forget to remove this row layout. So click on options and remove block. And we missed one step just now. We haven't added the dynamic content yet. So let's click on dynamic content. Let's select post title and we forgot to click on this button. And here we go. Now let's check it out. Let's go to any of our email marketing posts and let's refresh this. And now you can see the header has been added. If we go to another post, let's refresh this. The heading has been added as well. And for the third article, the heading has been added as well. Now let's go a step further. Let's say that I want this background to be blended with your site's header. So for this to happen, let's go to the theme customizer by clicking on this, but I want to open it up in a new tab. Let's go to header and under transparent header, let's enable this. We want a transparent header to appear only on your articles. So we want to disable transparent header on pages. And here we go. Now the only thing is to push all this content down. To do that, let's go back to our hook element. Let's select the base layer and then let's go to padding and margin. If you don't know what padding and margin is, it is basically the spaces that wraps around your content. Padding controls whatever that is within and margin controls whatever that is outside of the element. So for example, we want to add spaces within this element that is between the border and the header. Let's go to top padding and let's increase this to 150. And you'll see a lot of spaces over here. You can click and drag this as well. It is very flexible. So let's update this. And if we go to one of our email marketing article and refresh this, you will see a lot of spaces. But the transparent header is not taking shape because we have not published this. Important step. So let's go back and refresh this. And here we go. How does this look for your blog post? I think it looks professional. But the problem now is you have this featured image and you don't want that. And this is something that you customize in your theme customizer. Let's head back all the way to the main menu and click on blog post, single post layout. Let me scroll down a little. We don't want to display this header because it's already displayed here. So let's toggle this off. And that will be gone. And then if we scroll down, we don't want to show this featured image. So let's toggle this off as well. And here we go. Let's publish this, refresh. And this is your blog post template for one of the categories. Now, what happens if you want the same template, but you want to change the background color for the other categories? That's quite simple. Let's go back to our hook element, select this row layout, open up the options, copy this. Now click on this WordPress logo to go back to our hook element and add new. Select default, give it a title. Let's say it is this. Now click over here, right click, paste. And we are basically done. All you need to do is to change the background here. Let's say color number 1, I want to change it to this color. Color number 2, I want to change it to something darker. Let's say this. Let's open up the element settings. Under placement, let's select before all content. For the display settings, let's select single post and let's select group so that we can add categories. Let's say this is content writing. Let's publish this. And if we go to one of the content creation articles, you see this is the default template. Let's refresh this. And now we have a new post template for the content creation category. The same goes for this as well as this. Let's just do one more so that you'll be familiar. Over at the hook element, let's open up the list view. You want to select the base layer so that you will copy every single one of this element within the base layer. Let's click on options and copy. Click on the WordPress logo. That will bring you back to the hook element dashboard. Let's add new. Select default. Give this a title. Click on this. Right click. Paste. Let's click on this gear for the settings. Select background overlay settings. Over at color number 1, let's paste this color. And for color number 2, I want to change it to this color. Let's publish this. And one more thing, before we publish, we need to tell the theme where to place this element. Let's select before all content, Display settings, let's change this to single post. And let's select group, categories, page speed, publish. And if we go to one of the page speed article, let's refresh that. And you have this nice looking hero section for your articles in a new category. And it's not just one article, every article under the category will adopt the new design layout. And now let's take this a step further for these 3 review articles. We want to do something like this, but we want to add a rating. However, it is not the star rating. There is no easy way to add a dynamic star rating at the moment, but this will eventually change in the future. For now, we will just add a rating with numbers. And then next, we will add a dynamic button that links to each respective affiliate product page. And then we want to add a sticky footer that includes a button that links to the affiliate product page as well. So let's go. Now before we start the process, let us install an additional plugin so that we can have dynamic links. Let's go back to the WordPress dashboard by clicking this, but let me open up in the new tab. Now let's go to plugins and add new. Let's search for advanced custom field, and here we go. We need this plugin by Delicious Brains. Let's install now, and let's activate this. And once we have activated this, we will see this custom fields tab. Now let's not worry about this first. Let's first make the hero section of these 3 articles pretty. So now let's go to the hook elements. Let's use this template for our base design. And let's head back to the WordPress dashboard by clicking this. And we are back to the hook elements page. Let's add new. Let's select default and let's give this a name. Let's say that it is the review post template. And let's click on this, right click and paste. Now I want to change the background of this, so let's go to background settings. I want to add a video background. So let's select video. Let us upload the video. And here we go. Let's select this. Now I want to change the heading color, so let's click on this. And then over here under heading color, let's change this to white. Let's do the same for the post excerpt. Let's go to color and make this white. Now let's go to the element settings. Under placement, let's make this before all content, and the display settings, let's select single post, group, categories, and review. And now let's publish this, and let's see how our review articles look like. Kinda cool, right? Okay, now here comes the interesting part. For every review article, we want to add a rating over here, and then I want to add a button that links to the affiliate product page. So let's say if I'm on a Kadence review article, I want to click on this button and it will bring me to the product page of Kadence. And if I'm on a GeneratePress article, it will bring me to the GeneratePress product page. The same goes for Blocksy. So how should we do this? We need to rely on something called custom fields. And to show you how it works, let me open up the WordPress editor of one of these articles. Now by default, this is how the WordPress editor looks like. Now let's go back to the WordPress editor. Let's go to custom fields, field groups. Let's add new. Let's say for this, I want to add a review rating. So I'll name it as such, and then I will add field. We'll copy this and put it here. And as for the field type, I'll put it as range. Let's scroll down. Now, if you want to force this custom field to have a value, you will select yes. And if you forgot to add a value to this field, your article will not be saved. That's basically what it means. Now, as for the default value, I'll put it as 2.5. For the minimum value, we'll put it as 0. Maximum value, we'll put it as 5 because we want the review rating to be out of 5. And the step size, we'll put it as 0.5 so that we can have like a 1.5, 2.5 or 3.5 instead of a whole number. The prepend, we'll leave it as it is. And as for the append, we'll put it as out of 5. So if you have inputted a value, let's say it is 2.5, then it will be 2.5 out of 5. And we are done with this. Now, the important part is this location. So I want to show this field group if the post category is equals to review. And we are done. Let's publish this. And if we go back to the WordPress editor of the article under the review category, let's refresh this and let's scroll down. You can see this review rating over here. This is the new custom field we have created for all the articles in the review category. So let's put this as maybe 4.5 and let's update this. Now let's go back to the review post template. Let's hit enter to go to the next line. And over here, let's add a letter and this toolbar will appear. Let's click on this dynamic content. But before that, let's refresh this. Let's click on dynamic content. Under post custom view, let's select review rating and add dynamic content. And here we go. Let's update this. Under this review article, let's update. And let's go to the live page and refresh. And as we can see over here, there is this 4.5 and it is in black color. So let's go back to the hook element. Let's click on this dynamic content. Let's go to the settings. And as for the color, let's make it white. And then let's hit space out of 5 so that as we update this, it will look like this. Or maybe you want to add something in front of this. Let's say you want to put rating like this. And as we update, here we go. This 4.5 is a dynamic content. Now what happens to the 2 other articles we haven't added a value? Let's refresh it. And by default, it has a 5-star. So let's say if we edit this post, we scroll down, we give this maybe a 4.5 as well. Let's update this. Let's view post, refresh. Now we have a 4.5. The same goes for Kadence. By default, it has a 5 out of 5. If we edit post, change this value, update, and refresh, we have a 4.5 as well. Now the next thing is we want to add a button to this post template. And for that button, we want to have a dynamic links. So let's add another field in this WordPress editor. Let's go back to the advanced custom fields. Let's add a new field group. Let's say this is affiliate link. Let's add a new field. Let's copy this and put this here. And under the field type, let's put this as link. Let's turn this to required. And the return value, we want to put this as link URL. The same thing, let's change the location. We want to show this field group if the post category is equal to review. And let's publish this. Now, as we go to one of the review articles and refresh, we will see another custom field in the WordPress editor. Now, since this is generate press, let's select link. You can place your affiliate link here, but for this case, I will just link it to generate press. And let's add link, update. Let's do the same for Kadence. Select link. Let's link this to Kadence. Update. Let's do the same with Blocksy. Select link, insert the URL, and add link. Now we are ready. Let's go back to the hook elements. Let's hit enter to go to the next line. Let's add a block and let's search for button. Let's select this advanced button. Let's first change the background color of the button. Let's say to make this a little yellow. The border color as well. Let's change this to the same color. And let's put the button text as visit page. Now we want to add a link here, but we want it to be a dynamic link. So let's click on this, enable dynamic link, and let's select post custom field. Under the custom field, let's select affiliate link. This is the custom field we have created. And we are basically done. Let's update this and see how it looks right now. You see the button is right here for generate press as well and for Kadence as well. So if I click on this, it will bring me to Kadence. If I click on the link from generate press, it will bring me to generate press. And if I click on the link from the Blocksy review, it will bring me to Blocksy. So that's how this dynamic link works. Now let's do something interesting. Since we have all this dynamic stuff in place, let's say on this review article, it's a long article where you have a lot of valid points to argue. So if the reader reads through the article, which is super long, they can't find a call to action. So what happens next? They open up another browser, go straight to the product and buy that product, and you will not get the credit. So what if you can stick a call to action button at the footer? So that way, whenever your reader is scrolling through, that call to action button will be visible whenever. And to do that, let's go back to the hook element. Let's click on this to go back to the WordPress dashboard. Let's add a new hook element. And this time around, we want to select fixed. Let's give this a name. And let's add a block. Select row layout. Select this one column layout. For example, make this full width. Change the background color to black. And let's add a button. Let's give this button a little contrast. Let's give this a name. Let's put this as visit page. And we want to add the dynamic link as well. Enable dynamic link, select post custom field, select the affiliate link custom field we have created, and we are basically done. The next thing is we want to click on element settings, set the placement, fix bottom after scroll, and for the display settings, we want to select single post, group, categories, review, and publish. Now let's go to one of the review article and refresh. And as we scroll down, can you see this sticking here? Now if we want to bring this down, we need to go back to the fixed element, click on the row layout, make sure it is the base layer, and let's select settings. Under padding and margin. Now to explain to you what padding and margin is, they are actually the spaces around an element. So the row layout layer has its own padding and margin. The section layer has its own padding and margin as well. The advanced button has its own padding and margin as well. The padding basically controls whatever spaces within an element. So let's say we have selected the row layout and we want more spaces between the top border of the button and the top border of the row layout. So all you need to do is to increase this, let's say 50. And if you want to control the space between the button and the border, you can either click and drag it, or you can adjust the number here. So let's say it is 50 as well. Now because over here we want to shift this entire row layout down, we need to adjust the margin because margin controls the spaces out of the element. The padding controls whatever that is within. So for the bottom, if it is a positive number, it will shift this entire row layout up. But if you want to shift it down, it will be a negative number. So let's say for the bottom, we want to shift it down. So it's negative 30, for example. Let's update. And as we refresh this, we can see there's no more spaces. This entire row layout has shifted down. And there you have it. That's how you create an awesome looking post layout for the articles in any categories. And honestly, I think this is comparable to what Brian Dean has on his website. What do you think? Leave a comment down below. Now, I hope you've enjoyed this video and you can take these little tips to make something great for your website. If you find this video helpful, please help to smash that thumbs up button so that someone else who needs this information will get it. And if you have done that, thank you. Anyway, if you are new to Kadence, here are some tutorials you can follow to build fast loading and beautiful web pages. I really hope it helps to expedite your learning curve. All the best to you, stay cool and stay safe.